spread. I'm going to go over this with you to explain how it works. It's basically the 12 houses of the natal chart, and each house represents a specific area of your life. So I pulled out a card for each house, and there are 12 cards total. We're going to talk about, how the energy comes out. And it's helpful to do this spread at the beginning of the year so that we can pinpoint, specific areas that might need some work so that these problems don't become more aggravating through and not carry the same problems and the same energy into these subsequent months, okay? So I'm going to go over them in detail so that it's not too daunting. So let's go into it. So the first house deals with your identity. So this is pretty much the rising sign, is considered the ascendant, and especially the face that you project into the world, the way that other people perceive you, and the basically the energy you carry into this month. You're showing up here as the Justice card, which is a major arcana card. It basically denotes being in a very, very balanced frame of mind, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. So I do feel that, a lot of you are going into this month wanting to get a little bit more balance, either with your weight, wanting to structure your routine, having like a to-do list, or even having like a little bit more of a, streamline schedule when it comes to work and when it comes to your personal life. So I do feel that you are decluttering out your space. You're getting yourself more organized. You're becoming a lot more productive. And I feel that some of you might be thinking about slimming down or, shaping up when it comes to your exercise routine. This is a very, very good card, and it's representative of the card of Libra. And Libra deals with it deals with balance. It deals with like seeing things from other people's point of view, rather than rushing in and arguing on moral grounds. It's really important for you to become very diplomatic. And I feel that the energy that you're bringing into this year is that you are a lot more cooperative. You are a lot more tolerant of other people. And you're a lot more like, I want to say balanced when it comes to forming assessments of as it pertains to how you feel about a specific thing or how you feel about a specific person. This is a card about partnership as well. Libra also rules partnerships, and it deals basically with learning to compromise with another person and trying to smooth over frictions and problems in our relationship. So it pertains to smoothing out, wrinkles in relationships or smoothing out problems in your environment. I do feel a lot of people are coming to you for advice, and I do sense a lot of people are coming to you in order to get your perspective so that they're not, because you have very, very biased and truthful advice or even perspective to give them, okay? So this is a very positive energy that you're bringing to the table coming into this year and this month. The second house deals with your finances and your values. And you have a really good card. So this is the Queen of Pentacles. This is basically, I feel money is going to be flowing in very nicely this month. And I feel that you have done a lot of work on yourself when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to like sitting down and deciding, which items I can absolutely do without and where my money is going. So I do feel for a lot of you, you are regaining control over your financial situation. A lot of you might have started saving. A lot of you might have investment opportunities as well, mutual funds and things like that, or even like investing in stocks, investing in real estate as well. So this is a card that indicates somebody who is financially very savvy. They spend things on items that are necessary rather than spending frivolously. This is also somebody who's very financially sound. They know how to make their money work for them, and they know how to make money with their hands. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty, and they're willing to do whatever it takes in order to secure financial resources. So this is a positive card. I feel like a lot of you might be spending money, either beautifying your home, doing some type of remodeling, or buying, nice pieces of furniture, artwork, and things like that for your home environment, okay? This is also a card as it pertains to values. This is somebody that no matter what happens around him or her, they hang on very, very tightly to their values. So I just finished the Pisces reading, and I mentioned with Pisces that they are heavily influenced by the people around them. This is like the opposite of that, and it basically denotes being in a situation where you know who you are, you don't need to prove yourself to other people, and you take what people say with a grain of salt, even if you don't agree with them. You will listen to their side of the story and make your own internal judgment. So I feel like you're a very, very self-assured. And I almost want to say that you are not in the mood to compromise any parts of yourself or any parts of your own values in order to achieve a specific end. So I feel like this is a very positive card that indicates, somebody who is really sure of themselves and they know where they stand. Even if they're surrounded by, bad influences, bad people, unscrupulous behavior, they still can hold their own in the face of opposition, okay? So very, very good card for money and values. The third house deals with your communication, and it deals with siblings as well. So let me just talk about siblings because I feel like that came in first. What we have here is the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords is somebody that you're dealing with in that siblings department. This is usually an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, a younger person, or a person who is having trouble finding information, who is having trouble knowing what's understanding, processing, and knowing what's happening around them. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who is a little bit younger, who is in your home environment as well. And I feel like a lot of upheaval is happening in their lives. Like there's a lot of stability and they're not really sure where to turn. So sometime for this month, you are going to have to help this person, provide mentorship, provide guidance for this person. And you're going to be able to help them explain and make sense of all the turmoil that's going on in their lives. And I feel like a lot of it can be because of their own behavior. Like they're creating a little bit of drama, a little bit, kicking up a little bit of a chaotic energy in their midst. But I feel like it's happening to them. And they're relying on you somehow to, help them make sense of it, sort it out. Because I feel like they're not able to retrieve or reach out for or arrive at the insights necessary to make sense of it. And I do feel with this person, they're very internally focused, so they might blame themselves for something that happened in their environment and they can't process it, they can't make sense of it. So I feel like you're going to be called upon to help this person in whatever capacity they're coming through. And I feel like it's somebody a little bit younger than you in your home environment. As it pertains to communication, when this card shows up in the reverse, it's basically telling you that know all the facts before you jump to conclusion. Be very careful about the information that you tell other people. Make sure that you know where what your sources are. Make sure that you have legitimate sources and examples to back up your claims, okay? I don't feel that you are going to be in a position where you are, shooting off the hips or just saying things recklessly. Mainly because this is the energy you're bringing to the table. And I feel like you're being crafty, you're being careful, and you're being very, very cautious about the things that you say and the claims that you make overall. So this is a good energy. However, as it pertains to communication, this is often like, rather than, telling somebody the truth where you feel like it might hurt them, I feel that you're holding back and you're being extra cautious about what you say. A lot of the times you want to be careful with this when it's in the reverse. It's sort of like distorting the truth, hiding the truth, or lying by omission as well. So just be careful about this energy. As it relates to your fourth house of family and the family that you grew up with and the family that you're hoping to create for yourself, and also the mother figure, we do have the Emperor in the reverse position. I feel for some of you, there might be issues coming through with mothers. Just I feel like a small minority, but I feel that it is affecting how you operate, I guess, for this month. With the Emperor in the reverse position, it usually indicates to me a person who, they're supposed to be an adult, but sometimes they don't behave like one. They can be a little bit reckless, and sometimes it's really hard for them. Like, they know the right thing to do. However, they have their own prejudices. They have their own agenda. So it's really hard for you to reason with them. And it's really hard. Like, they're quite stubborn to the point where they won't listen to reason. They won't listen to logic, and they've got their minds all made up, and they won't listen to anybody else. So in your family environment, you might be dealing with somebody like this, and you specifically might have a mother figure that is very, very strong-willed, very that could be a little bit controlling, a little bit difficult to deal with, and she won't listen to logic and reason. Okay. I guess, like, in the positive manifestation of the Emperor, it is somebody who is very, very loving, very caring. But I feel that they have trouble expressing emotions. They have trouble expressing affection. So I feel like if you grew up in this type of an environment, you might, love is like assumed rather than felt, rather than given. So I feel like it's a cold, sterile environment that you grew up in as it pertains to a mother figure that might be of this disposition. When it comes to your family life, with the Emperor in the reverse position, it's basically feeling almost kind of like, it's like rather than taking control of a situation, you're waiting for fate to kick in. And you're waiting for, information to come to light. You're dragging your feet. You're not making a major decision about something with your family life. You might be living with another person, for example, and you're in a relationship with, and you're just like, let's see how it goes, rather than being decisive, being proactive about pushing the relationship in a specific direction, or even pushing the partner or whoever you're living with to do something that you feel would be beneficial for both parties, for the environment and for the whole household. So there is an energy here of, I guess, coming in for this month, passivity. And this is really interesting because I don't usually see this for Aries, but I feel like a little bit more of a passive energy for you guys for this month. And I feel that you are being a little bit more, a lot more diplomatic and a lot more like taking a wait and see attitude, because you feel almost as if your energy is focused on work. You feel as if you need more information in order to make some really important decision when it comes to, your family unit. Okay. And I feel with the Emperor in the reverse, it's also somebody who wants, they want to create, they want a clan, they want to build an empire. So I feel for men and women alike, this is usually a card about, wanting to expand their territory, incorporating more land, more people, expanding a household, but not having the financial means to do that just yet. Or even, thinking about family planning, incorporating more people into your household environment, like wanting to have children, for example, or wanting to have grandchildren, but not being able to do that for whatever reason, okay? In terms of your fifth house, the fifth house deals with recreation. It deals with creativity. And it also deals with like how you entertain yourself overall. So as it pertains to like going out, having fun, doing creative things, be careful. I feel like moderation is the key here. Whenever I see this card, this is a Temperance card. It's the major arcana card, and it represents moderation. It represents self-control and self-mastery. And as it pertains to like how you find enjoyment out of life, the things that you do in order to invoke that sense of personal gratification, just be very, very careful that you are, just make sure you are balanced. So for example, not drinking excessively, and hanging out with people that add value to your life, spending time with those people that matter to you rather than scattering your energy. I do see this as like staying up very, very late in the night, going out very late, and having the majority of the next day pretty much used up. Okay, so just be careful about that. I do sense for some of you, this is we're also talking about creativity, and the creative energy that comes through from the Temperance card is, I feel like, linked up here with the Justice card, is cultivating, whenever you meet new people, for example, it's sort of like we make judgments. There are always like certain things that we love or certain things that we dislike about a specific person. This is a card about cultivating and, dwelling on the positive things. So cultivating, the good qualities that you really admire in the other person and dwelling on that rather than focusing on the negative aspects. Because with the Temperance card, it indicates some type of a higher calling. It indicates some type of I want to say like a spiritual healing as well when it comes to, the people that you associate with, the people that you go out with, and the ways in which you are finding ways to enjoy yourself. So doing things in moderation. So I also want to say I do feel a lot of health things associated with this entire spread. So cutting back on finding healthy ways to enjoy yourself. So rather than going out drinking, as it might affect your health, it might affect your ability to go through work the next day, and it might even affect your ability to really, be productive with your time the next day. Finding creative ways to entertain yourselves that might not be detrimental to your health or might not be detrimental to your wallet. So I do feel a lot of you are thinking about, doing like more physical activity, which is great. Hiking, jogging, doing things outdoors as well. Waking up earlier, sleeping a little bit earlier, trying to get either your hormonal cycle in order or some type of like getting your biorhythm in order as well. So it looks very good with this card. I feel like you're in the beginning stages of it, okay? The next card here is the 6th house, and it's the 4 of Wands. The 6th house rules your work, your health, and your daily activities, like your daily routine. We have the 4 of Wands, and the 4 of Wands basically means that the work environment itself, it's very, very, very stable. Wherever you are working right now, the work environment seems stable. So I don't feel that a lot of you are shifting location, and because there's stability in the work environment, you're able to focus on making money. So I do feel that, the cards are reinforcing one another. As it deals with your daily routine, I feel a lot of you are staying put more, like staying indoors, little things here and there around the house. As it relates to your health, with the 4 of Wands, this is like a lot of blessings coming through when it comes to health. I do see a lot of you are eating more greens, like taking better care of your health and being cautious about what you ingest and what you consume. And I feel like consumption on a spiritual level too. You're mindful about what you watch. You're mindful about what you read. You're mindful about the type of fiction, nonfiction books that you consume. So I feel in all manner, there is this, I feel like cleansing, purging process when it comes to your overall health and your overall routine. Okay, so very, very positive card. In terms of your relationships, this rules the 7th house of relationships in love and in business partnerships as well. We have the World. This is a very, very positive card that indicates to you that your world is opening up. Opportunities are coming in abundantly. And this, as a person, usually indicates to me coming into contact with people who are very, very different from you, either culturally, ethnically. They might not hail from the same area that you're from. And it also indicates travel and meeting new romantic prospects, okay? Or even traveling with a romantic partner. So there's an element here of love and travel going hand in hand. With the World, in terms of like work partnerships and things like that, it basically means as well good luck coming through from overseas. And I also feel that it pertains to having long distance relationships as well, like where you are geographically separated from another person. What I'm also feeling with this card here when it comes to your love and romance sector, and I'm going to do your love reading in a little bit, so we're gonna narrow down this energy. A lot of the times I feel that, well, in this specific situation, I feel that a lot of you have let go of some very, very long-standing established relationships. You might have been in a relationship with somebody for many, many years, and it's done and over with. The cycle is complete, and you need to move on. And I feel that a lot of you is still longing for something from that past. You know it's not good for you, and you know that you deserve more. And I feel that you have physically moved on. Emotionally, you have moved on. But there is always that lingering, missing somebody and thinking about somebody. But I feel that you know that you're in a better space right now. So overall, it's a very, very good card. It's indicative of, having a lot of options. So they're saying to keep an open mind, okay? Be open-minded about the types of partner that are coming into the fold for you. The next card here is the 8th house, which rules joint finances. We do have the Hermit. And the Hermit is what I call the card of investigation, looking into, digging up information. So I feel some of you are either doing this to see whether or not somebody is being truthful about how much they make. Some of you are digging up information as it pertains to a person that you have joint finances with. I feel stealthy operation, doing something very covertly and doing something like without the other person finding out. So I do sense, I don't feel this is a sneaky energy. This is more, it's a major arcana card. So it's basically using your smarts, using your intuition to know that something is not right and to look further into a specific person who you are financially linked up with for whatever reason. The Hermit in the upright position, it's basically uncovering information that is going to really help you. Okay, so this is a very good card. The 8th house also deals with, sex, regeneration, and all of that. I'm not going to go too in depth into that because I want this to be a little bit more, directed towards the tarot rather than astrology. So, sex, death, rebirth, regeneration. If you have been involved with a Virgo specifically, this is a, somebody that you might have lived with, might have shared resources with for whatever reason. They might not even be a romantic partner. They could be a friend that you have assets with, but whatever the case is. I feel like some information is coming to light regarding this person, and this person is coming back into your life somehow. If you have been involved specifically with that person, with a person like that, I feel that they're saying there's some lessons to be learned based on the way that they do things and the way that you do things. And I feel that it's really important to extract that lesson and, look at that relationship, look at that association for what it is, as a lesson learned and move on, okay? In terms of your 9th house, we do have here the 9 of Swords, and it's interesting, 9th house, 9 of Swords. The 9th house rules travel, long distance travel, higher education, philosophies, religion as well. And what I feel for a lot of you overall is that if you are in school, okay, and I know I have a lot of students that are viewers of my channel, and I feel that, they're in school, they want to find out what's going on. So I try to do this, focus on, those of you who are in school. If you are in school specifically, make sure you get adequate sleep, first of all. Make sure you don't cram. I feel that a lot of you have a habit of cramming for exams, cramming for last minute, dashing off essays and projects in the middle of the night or the night before it's due. So be very, very careful about procrastination. And if you have something, if you're in a learning environment, make sure that you set aside adequate time. A lot of you might be encountering some type of a steep learning curve as it pertains to some coursework, some training, or some, educational endeavors that you're trying to undertake. And they're pretty much telling you, push through, push on. Don't leave things to the last minute. You need to have a better routine when it comes to study habits, when it comes to like, self-discipline and things like that. So you need to start prioritizing education. You need to prioritize, the work that you're doing in order to achieve the degrees or, whatever it is that you're doing. But I feel a lot of you are encountering some really, really steep learning curves. I feel some of you are in the technical or the science-based industries or field where you're like spending a lot of time to do some type of, I feel like, experiments, and it's not panning out the way that you initially thought. So I feel like you've already formed your hypothesis before doing the experiments, before testing it out. And so they're saying like, don't cherry pick, run the experiments and write it as you see it. So that's for those of you in the biological sciences or even, the physical sciences. And then for others of you, I feel like, I do see poor study habits that needs to be whipped into shape, that needs to be revised, okay? So that's what I'm sensing for those of you who are dealing with that. They're also saying health issues coming through from far away. So, for example, you might have, family overseas, and you're hearing about some health issues, maybe a surgery or maybe some type of recovery coming from somebody far away. And I feel that you're not physically able to be there because it's long distance, right? You're not physically able to be there. And so you're going to have to either chip in financially, or you're going to have to, set a time to call that person to make sure, follow up with them, make sure everything is okay. But I do feel like for some of you, it could be a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, or somebody like, I get a very strong maternal vibe from the person that might be encountering these health issues, okay? The 10th house deals with your career and your father. So let me talk about your career first. Career and work, for the sake of this reading, they usually echo the same theme. So for your career, we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is somebody who is very, very intelligent, very strategic, and she knows what direction she's headed, okay? This is usually a card of negotiation, somebody negotiating for a pay raise. And I get this energy of like some of you might be negotiating for a pay raise, might be making demands. Like, here's what I think I'm worth. Can you match me where I think I'm worth? A lot of you are doing that, like at the negotiation tables with your boss, with your employers or something, and asking for a pay raise. And I do feel that it's going to be very beneficial for you if you decide to do that, because your energy is very, very firm, but also very, very fair and diplomatic. So I feel like this is a very good month for you. If you've been waiting on that and you're just not sure how to go about it, I feel like this is a good month for that, okay? A lot of you, as it pertains to your career, I do feel that, you want to advance. You want to, you're thinking long term about where you're going to be 5 years from now. And you're taking logical steps in order to, I want to say, pad your resume, revise your resume, as well as, negotiate with employers or supervisors about opportunities that might be opening up within the company that will allow you to advance forward and to jump ship even. So it's a very positive card. A lot of you might be dealing with an authority figure in the work environment who is very no nonsense. And I feel that, it could be a male or a female, but the way this person comes across is that they're not very warm and cuddly, and they're not like the type to, go to work and make friends. So I feel that they are just a little bit abrasive when it comes to their communication. And I do sense that they're kind of like, you feel almost as if they're constantly on your back, like they're either criticizing the things that you're doing, or they're telling you that it's being done incorrectly. I feel something like that. I feel like feeling a little bit oppressed, but I just want you to understand this is a person that is very procedure oriented. They want things done a very particular way, and they're just a little bit picky about how things are done. Be very, very careful when you're interacting with this person, and I feel like you're being very patient. And I feel that you feel a little bit attacked, or you feel almost like intimidated by this person. I feel they're honest, they're truthful, and they're actually very fair. But the way that they communicate might not be, for the sensitive type. So just something to keep in mind about, we're all people. So if it becomes a major problem for you, I feel that you can actually pull this person aside and tell them, because I feel like they're reasonable. Okay, they might not seem like they are based on the way that they talk. I feel like somebody who might have like who might be very sharp, very curt, and might seem a little bit rude, but I feel that they're very no nonsense, and they just communicate in a way that cuts out excess. So I feel like this is somebody that is reasonable. I do sense they're reasonable. So if there is a concern of yours, you definitely should address it with them, because they probably have no idea how you feel. But I feel like a lot of you might feel like a supervisor or a person in authority in your work environment might be like a little bit too much on your back, and you don't like it. Okay? Be careful. Like I said, I feel they're reasonable. So if it's a major annoyance or concern of yours, have a talk with them, have a discussion. What I'm also feeling is this: when it comes to your father figure, I feel like it's really interesting. So the 4th house rules the mother, and the 10th house rules the father. But it seems almost like the cards are inverted. And I feel like I mentioned earlier, I feel some of you might have like a difficult parental figure in your life, and I feel like it might be a mother figure. And I also feel that when it comes to the 10th house, it rules the father. We have the Queen of Swords, so I feel like your father is somebody who's very, very intelligent. Okay, they're very strategic. They know how to achieve goals. They know how to take care of practical responsibilities. But I feel like when it comes to love, when it comes to affection, when it comes to being demonstrative with, with affection overall, they might be a little bit, I want to say, they might not know how to emotionally open up. And I feel that this is the month in which, they might lash out when you do something to upset them. I feel like they're concerned for your safety, they're concerned for your health. Rather than stating it in a rational manner, they might lash out. And I feel like if you have been dealing with a parent, especially a father figure that is like that, very smart, very, very intelligent, but they're lacking in that emotional connection, I feel like it has affected your siblings. I feel that it has affected the relationship between the mother and the father might have been affected by that. And I feel like in the past, you might have thought, oh, it's mom's fault. And then now you're growing up and you're realizing, you know what, it takes two. So maybe dad is like this, so then mom is like this. Maybe like one person is accusatory and then the other person gets defensive. Or maybe one person is like, is so interrogative, like it's so curious, it's so interrogative, but lacking in warmth and affection, and then the other person felt undermined or underappreciated. So I feel like you're coming into the conclusion, you're understanding the power dynamics between your parents, and you're understanding how that, as a child being raised in that environment, how it affected you, how it affects your sibling, or how it has affected your siblings in the way in which you communicate. So I feel like there is some power dynamics within the family unit pertaining to the relationship between the mother and the father, and they might be divorced when you were young, but I feel that it really affected the way that you seek affection. It affected the partners that you choose as well. And it affected, your ability to really show affection. So that's something coming through. And I feel like, try to resolve that. If it sounds like it's coming in for you for some type of spiritual insights to help you understand your parents better. We have karmic relationships with our parents and especially our siblings. So whatever lessons can be gleaned when you examine the dynamics between your parents, most likely it's going to be an eye-opening insight to help you navigate a relationship that you're having, okay? And especially with a romantic partner. So I feel things coming full circle this month. You're going to understand a lot of things, and you're going to be able to look at both sides of the story rather than, the narrative that you grew up believing. Or you're not going to see one person's side of the story. You're going to be a little bit more impartial, unbiased, and you're going to be a lot more, I guess, like you're assessing both sides or both point of view and both sides of the story, which is a really, really good energy. And I'm really happy to see this for you, Aries. Moving on, the 11th house deals with friends and group associations. Let's talk about your friends. So we have here the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is a card about, not giving up, struggling to carry on another day. And it's the 9, it's almost the end of a cycle. So we have here the 9 of Swords as well as the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Swords might relate to some health issues that a lot of you might be hearing from another person about, or you are kind of concerned about some health issues. You're getting your health in order, and you're being a little bit more regimented with your schedule. The 9 of Wands basically indicates a situation where you have to be on guard about the people around you, especially those you consider your friends. And you want to be careful about, are they contributing to your life, or are they subtracting from your life? So I feel that, you are a very, very popular sign. You and Leo, you're incredibly popular. A lot of people want to hang out with you, and a lot of people want to be in your inner circle. So I feel like you have a wide network of friends and associates, okay? So I feel like most of you are very fun to just hang out with, and people love your energy, your enthusiasm. Be careful about, gossip. Be careful about rumors. Be careful about people coming through that just want to instigate. So be careful about who your friends are. And I feel like you know who your friends are. But oftentimes when we want to have fun, when we want to just, have mindless fun, we are like a little bit more indiscriminate about who we consider friends. So just be careful about, instigators, okay? So if you've heard rumors and things like that, and if this person is like usually like always putting in rumors and always kicking things up, just detach yourself. Don't hang out with them, and, don't put yourself in their presence, because that is negative energy. So be careful about your friends. Be careful about, how you are spending your time. And if you feel as if you are no longer emotionally growing from a friendship, I feel like it's important to reassess, okay? A lot of the times people outgrow each other, and it's a perfectly normal part of life. So it's really important for you to just realize that sometimes, that does happen, and it happens to everybody. So once in a while, we should re-examine if people are still contributing to value to our lives or subtracting from it, okay? So just something to keep in mind about. In terms of your 12th house, we do have the Devil. And so the 12th house, just for the sake of simplification for this reading, the 12th house deals with secrets. It deals with institutions. And I want to say with the Devil situation, it's something in your environment that you're not aware of, okay? And with the Devil, it usually indicates some type of addiction, substance abuse, some type of a mentality that keeps us very, very stuck and very afraid of change. And I feel for a lot of you, you're dealing with somebody who has an addictive personality. This can actually be you or another person that you're dealing with. I feel that you're very balanced, so I don't see that. I don't think that's the case. I feel like you're dealing with somebody who either has like, actual like drug addiction. You might be hearing about an ex being mired in some drugs, alcohol issues, for example. You might realize that, hey, the people that I'm around are not that great for me, so I'm going to have to reassess who my friends are. Because I do see, the Devil in the 12th house is not a great thing to have. I'm feeling for some of you, this is pertaining to some health issues, okay? And I got a lot of health things here with the Temperance card, the Nine of Swords, back pain, health issues, and I feel like the devil, usually with the world, there's a lot of sexual activities that might have happened for a lot of you guys in the past, or you're dealing with somebody who has had many relationship partners. So I feel some information coming to light that might be causing you a little bit of distress. So be very, very careful about taking care of your health as it relates to relationships, like sex relationships and things like that, because I do sense that coming through heavily in this spread, okay? What I'm also feeling as well is I keep seeing that a lot of you might have left a relationship partner behind, and you're not able to let it go because you feel like they might have been your soulmate. You feel like you're meant to be together, but in the physical environment, the way that it manifests is that it's a toxic relationship. You might have left them behind. You might have tried to stay friends with them. And then you realize that, I'm still attracted to them physically. I'm still, emotionally attracted to them as well. And so you're grappling with this dilemma about, what do we do now? Because we can't even stay friends. So reassess your friendships. I feel that that's going to help you get rid of this energy, because this is in your environment that you're not aware of. Whereas this you're already doing. You're already like cautious about who you're letting in terms and who you call a friend. Okay. So overall, I'm going to go into your love reading, and I'm going to take this card out because it represents your 7th house, which deals with relationships. So we're going to take this card and use it as the guidelines for the next part of your reading, which is going to be your love and relationship and romance sector. So what is going on for Aries people for the month? Reading reversals, just to see. It's easier for me to read reversals. I feel like sometimes with this deck, but sometimes not. But I did it for Pisces, so let me just see what's the best thing to do here. So you've got the World again, which is interesting. Okay, so I have this strong message that came out, so it just needs to be said before I go into the reading. I feel like a lot of you have an ex, somebody that you were, kind of not able to break away from. And I feel like it's an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, X. And I feel like this person was a major drain on your financial situation in whatever way. In some way, they were a major drain. So either you've had to help them out of many financial situations, or they're just like kind of reckless, irresponsible when it comes to financial resources. And I feel like the relationship, whenever you were together with them, it was just chaotic, okay? It just didn't fulfill you emotionally. There was a lot of passion and excitement, of course, but that is a relationship that is a major blockage to you achieving, stability, to you achieving happiness. And do not let this person interfere in your life anymore. So don't go back to it, okay? So that's the person that's coming through, and I just want you to just let it go. And the reason I say that is this is a card here about, restriction. So in a way, it is expansion, but if you look at it, she's pretty much restricted as well, and she's looking back at her past, okay? So you're male or female watching this, it doesn't matter. I feel like some of you have an ex. It is a toxic relationship, and either they borrow money from you, or you need it to like get money to help them some way, and they need to be able to take care of the typical thing happening with them over and over and over again, and you're constantly the person that they come to bail them out of a jam, or to, like, well, things have come full circle, so just let people go. All right. Let me talk about the past. And in the past, we have here the Page of Coins. So this is basically, the person I was talking about. And that message was for those of you dealing with this person. But I'm going to talk about this in a more neutral way as it applies to more people. This is an earth sign: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is somebody who is perceived as being very, very flirtatious. They have the wandering eyes, and they flit from one pretty face to the next, okay? And that could be male or female. It doesn't always have to be a male. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, that they just go from one thing to the next. And they say a lot of things, but they don't really hold up their end of the bargain. And I feel like this is somebody that is, I mentioned this before, I believe for you guys, where they have, like, they have really, really strict high standards for other people, but they're very lenient on themselves. So I feel like this is a total hypocrite. Just be very careful. And it's linked up here with the Queen of Coins as well. And the Queen of Coins is what brought me to say that, they're a blockage to your financial blessings. This is a relationship in which, for whatever reason, you took care of them, you loved them, you nurture them. And then I feel like you didn't get anything back in return. You came out of it pretty empty-handed. And I feel like, it can go both ways, but I feel that for those of you who are watching this, at least, I feel like you gave so much of yourself, so much of your time, and putting your life on hold, waiting for the other person to get their act together, waiting for them to grow up. And I feel like, I don't feel innately they're a bad person. I just feel like they're childish. I feel like they're a little bit hypocritical because they have very lax standards for themselves, and they hold grudges. And I feel like they can also nitpick. I feel like for some of you, you are still financially involved with somebody from the past, like you're still financially linked up with, and you are trying to get your fair share from that financial pot, and it's really difficult for you to move on until you are able to recoup your loss. And so you're hanging on to this situation. There's a lot of hostility, there's a lot of resentment, there's bitterness, and I feel that it's you want to move on, but you don't know how you can from it. Which brings us into the present situation. We have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is basically, in the reverse, it's usually indicative of a divorce, pending divorce that is happening right now, or being discussed. And this is also a relationship breaking down, a significant relationship breaking down. And it's linked up as well with the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is like the arrows of love. I usually think about this as communication. And I feel like there is some type of, for those of you who are in a coupled relationship right now, there is some type of a stalemate when it comes to communication. There is some communication breakdown. You both are not talking to each other for whatever reason. And I feel like the dynamics within this relationship that you're currently in, there are financial problems at the root of it, which is creating almost like a sense of isolation, a sense of resentment. So somebody's not doing their fair share to like chip into this relationship, either emotionally, physically, or even financially. And there is an imbalance within the relationship. And one partner is very resentful and the other partner is not aware of it. So you need to do some type of, have some type of a soulful communication in order to resolve this issue, okay? Which brings us to the foundation, and the foundation is something that we know to be true. We have here the Five of Pentacles. Somebody is falling on hard times. Somebody is like in need of financial assistance, in need of that emotional or even spiritual support, or even, uplift. So I feel that somebody is feeling very, very much alone, isolated, as if they are bearing the weight of that financial burden, and they're bearing the weight of the stress and strain, trying to keep everything going. And you, Aries, you are a very, very loving, generous sign. And I feel a lot of the times too, you get yourself in situations And before you know it, things pile up, like neck deep. And you're just like, how did I get there? So one of the things I would advise you is to slow down when it comes to your relationship. And really, if you are taking on a huge financial burden for a partner, I feel that you've already given your word, so you feel like it's a binding contract. I can't really back out. What will they think of me? Well, you need to take care of yourself. So if you feel so stressed and overwhelmed because of the relationship, because of the burdens, because of your word, because of your obligation to the other person, it's really affecting your emotional health. And so before you form any binding contract about what you're going to do, you need to really reassess long term whether or not it is even humanly possible for you to take on that burden. Because I feel that it breeds resentment, okay? In every situation, for every sign, if there are innate imbalances, it creates a lot of hostility and resentment. And I feel from your end, I feel that you gave somebody your word, so you feel that you feel obligated to do it, and it's pretty much telling you that this is a relationship should not be a binding contract. It should be done out of free will. So you want to reassess some major financial arrangement if you are romantically linked up with another person. Feel as well May not being a great month. So just keep that in mind and try to rectify the situation as soon as you can. It's also linked up here with the Hermit. And the Hermit is basically lack of insights. Okay, lack of higher wisdom, lack of insights. So let me just say, I feel like there is a huge financial burden in this relationship. And I feel like you might have financial assets. You're linked up with another person, and they're either you are separated and pending divorce, or you have been divorced and you're trying to recoup your losses. And I feel like the other person is either living large, and you're left with like scraps, and you feel the injustice of it. And I feel that you're trying to find ways to strategically, land this situation in your favor. So that's for those who have recently divorced or are dealing with a relationship where there are some type of imbalance as it comes to money and how much partners are putting in. Okay? Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have the World once more, and the World is basically talking about opportunities that are going to be available to you when it comes to dating, when it comes to dealing with other people, and when it comes to overall success. I feel like a lot of you are dealing with an air sign in your romantic sector. So an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. This is not a good relationship partner as of yet, okay? So if you are heavily thinking about this person, if you're not involved with them and you're heavily thinking about them, this is somebody who's not truthful, who's not honest, who's not a relationship partner material. They're very independent, and I feel that they're not looking for a relationship at this time. So if this is especially somebody from your past that you're not able to let go of, please do, because it's creating, you can't think about one person while trying to move on with the next. It's going to be very difficult, but I feel that for some reason you're putting your life on hold, and you're trying to cater to this person. I feel like they're not responsible either. They're kind of a little bit. They're not bad people, but I feel that they for whatever reason, they're not going to be able to give you the life and the relationship that you're hoping for. Okay, for whatever reason, circumstances might not allow them to do that. They might not be financially stable right now because they're going through some. I feel like they're going through their own karma. When it's linked up with the World, there's some karma has to complete on their end in order for them to reach that state of enlightenment where they are fully cognizant of the consequences of their actions in order to straighten out their lives. They're not in the right space, in the right frame of mind to give you the relationship that you're hoping for. So be careful, because I feel like you are making justifications for this person and they're not going to be the person that you want them to be as a romantic interest, okay? And then for others, still stuck on an earth sign you're not able to let go of, you might have financial linkages. What's coming through for you guys, especially for those who are single, especially, we have here the Three of Coins, which is, you know, wanting to take a relationship to the next level. This is a card about building something out of value with another person. It's also linked up here with the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is, this is in the reverse, so traveling from a very, very tumultuous situation into safer water. When it's in the reverse position, it's basically indicative of like having to sail back in order to resolve some unfinished business. So I feel for those of you who are in a relationship and, you know, it's kind of like you're starting to see the stress and the strain. You need to communicate in order to rectify the situation. It's an uncomfortable situation because it's about money. And, you know, money, and it's not like the sexiest topic to bring up with a romantic partner, but it is a discussion that needs to be had. There is some imbalances as it pertains to, you know, who's doing what, who's chipping in what. And I feel like there is a little bit of resentment brewing under the surface, and that needs to be addressed as well. If you are dealing with an earth sign, I feel that there is an element here about this person reeling you back in. Earth and air, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they're reeling you back in. They might be in another relationship and they're trying to like have their cake and eat it too. And I feel that it's not a good idea for you to try to do that, okay? If you're dealing specifically with an air sign, I feel like they're trying to do something to better their life. And I feel that they're trying really, really hard. So give them a little bit of space and a little bit of support if you can. If you're like at your wit's end and for whatever reason, just have that discussion. I feel like they're trying something to better their lives. But the earth sign from the past, I just feel like that's a dead end pretty much, because I feel like this person is not wanting to build a future. Okay, they're reeling you back in. When you slip away, they reel you back in. So it's not a it's a toxic relationship. All right. For those who are single and dating, I do feel an element here of meeting people from a foreign land, meeting people that are quite different from you. And I do sense opportunities for social engagement, social dating, meeting people that want to get to know you over, you know, like a lot of conversations being exchanged. And with the world and with the Three of Coins, it usually indicates like group dates, you know. So for example, you might have your eye on somebody and you're going out as a group and you're getting to know that person over, you know, at a brewery, over a cup of some beer or some drinks or wine, whatever it is. I feel like it's a lot of group settings where you can meet people that are like outside of your usual type, where you are going to have like an exchange of conversation. I feel like conversations borderlining debates, and I feel that it's really going to open you up to meet new people, but to also like broaden your horizons when it comes to your philosophical beliefs, okay? Because the people are very different from you. I don't feel like an actual person coming through for those who are single for this month, but I do feel a lot of interest being generated, okay? I do sense a lot of attraction. This is also what I say, like, you know, the one night stand, being very physically attracted to somebody, but not having it pan out in the way that you'd hope. But I do see a lot of interactions with what they say, like foreigners, okay? So I hope the reading has been helpful for you, Aries. I feel like it's still going to be a good month for you guys. So if you like a private reading, please contact me at temperatestar@gmail.com, or you can visit my website where you can book a reading for yourself. If you'd like to donate to my channel as well, the donation link is also in the description box. And I